Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, and so far the roster is absolutely amazing. Last year I did a video on my most wanted Super Smash Bros. Characters, and while I only got one character that appeared as a playable fighter, and some of them were left as assist trophies, I'm still happy, and actually prefer that I was wrong, as not only we got every character from the previous installments back, but we got some of the biggest requests like Ridley and Banjo and Kazooie, which I never thought was going to happen. With the recent announcement after Terry's reveal that we'll be getting more DLC fighters in the future, I will be listing characters that I would love to see in the roster. Last time I restricted myself with only first party characters to be more realistic with my choices, but since we got this, and this, and this, I decided to reach out with any video game character, with the only rule being no assist trophies, as I still find it extremely unlikely that we'll be seeing them playable in Ultimate. Sprites are perfectly okay though. Anyway, let's begin.
The power is yet unknown.
One of my favourite developers in the last decade has to be Platinum Games, who started working on titles for Sega like Mad World and Bayonetta, and eventually grew to become the action game developers, working with many publishers like Konami, Activision, Square Enix, and even Nintendo. Their characters are ideal for Smash. We've already got Bayonetta as a fighter, it'd be cool to see another. Now at the time, I haven't played this game yet, but it would be sweet to play as a protagonist from Astral Chain. From what I can tell from the trailers and gameplay footage, they use tweeters toward legions, not a thing to the user, to combine each other's attacks. I could see them play as a combination between Jota and the Ice Climbers, but with them being strong when the legion is out, and weaker when the legion is badly damaged, and their recovery being similar to Ice Climbers' up special. I just really like their designs, and I could see some pretty funky looking stage alongside some nice headbangers.
The power is yet unknown.
With Banjo and Kazooie being revealed as the third DLC fighters, I was surprised, especially since Microsoft bought Rare back in 2002, and Microsoft being a rival console competitor to Nintendo. They honestly fit right at home with the roster. With their reveal, the idea of another Microsoft character doesn't seem far-fetched. I've seen many people talk about Steve from Minecraft and Master Chief from Halo as possible candidates, but I would love to see another Rare character. Conker was an honourable mention, but another big Rare title just clicked with me.
Available for your home in 1995, only on Nintendo Ultra 64. Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct is another great fighting game series that started back in the arcades and the Super Nintendo around 1994 and is famous for its music composed by Robert Beland, Graham Nordic, and during the Xbox One installment, Mick Gordon. In fact, this is one of the main reasons why I would love a Killer Instinct character, as the music is a big part of the franchise. We could even have music that changes beats and pitch, as well as the environment, just like the recent game. Now, out of the Killer Instinct cast, there are a few that come to mind, like Jago, Saberwolf, and Orchid. But I would pick the poster boy Fogel, who would stand out more in Smash for his laser beams, cures, and cloaking device. Rare was one of my favourite developers, and seeing Banjo in Smash made me excited to see a possibility of an hour character made by Rare.
The power is yet unknown.
Speaking of Rare, one of my childhood favourites was the Donkey Country series. After the Donkey characters, I'm glad K. Rool was chosen first to be the new character in Ultimate, as he feels the most creative. No, I would love to see another DK character. I could see possible echoes like Funky Kong or Donkey Kong Jr., but if I have to choose one, it would have to be Dixie Kong. If the next DLC after the Fighters Pass is an Echo Pass, I could see Dixie join in as a Diddy Echo, but seem to be unique too, using her hair for her base attacks, as well as a helicopter spin for a recovery. Apparently, she was planned as a fighter in Brawl alongside Diddy, using a team-up mechanic similar to the Country Games, but it never came to be. I can see this concept come back in Ultimate, but instead of Diddy, she could team up with other cons such as Tiddy, Funky, Cranky, or even all three. Final Smash wise, I could see a cinematic attack with a barrage of animal buddies.
The power is yet unknown.
We started to get a good amount of villains in Smash Ultimate. We've got the obvious Bowser and Ganondorf, as well as the on-time revivals like Reggie and King K. Rool. These villains are iconic to Nintendo's Odyssey, but there's one villain I would love to see the most, which is Medusa from the Kid Icarus series. Similar to Dixie Kong, she could be an echo to Palutena with her staff and magic abilities, but she could be different using the snakes that could inflict poison damage, and could even be a trap-focused character, sending out snakes similar to the pattern in the original Kid Icarus game, or turning enemies into stone. Hades is our honorable mention, as he would be a neat addition, but I always prefer Medusa. Plus, he voices number 5 from Codename Kids Next Door, and She-Hulk in the 90s Incredible Hulk. Two very sassy ladies. I can definitely see some smack talk coming from her.
The power is yet unknown.
Intelligent Systems have worked on the Fire Emblem series for nearly the last 30 years, and in Ultimate, we have about 7 fighters hailing from the series. Now, some of my favourite fighters in Smash are Fire Emblem characters, and it is one of my favourite series, but Intelligent Systems also worked on another series called Advance Wars, which was one of Nintendo's biggest games on the Game Boy Advance, and I would love to see a character from that series. In my older video, just after Ultimate was announced, I said I would love Andy being the fighter to represent the series, but I honestly would be fine with any character. No, my preferred choice would either be Max for his brute appearance, or Sammy as he could use firearms in the fight. I could see them similar to the guilty character Jack O, who is able to create minions that fight alongside her and grow stronger over time. I could imagine something similar to this mechanic be used in Smash Bros, but instead of minions, the character will be able to build infantry and mini-tanks in the style of Advance Wars Sprites.
The power is yet unknown.
I am a big Capcom fan, and while we already have Mega Man, Ryu, and Ken, there is a lot of characters that would potentially be great choices in Smash, like the Resident Evil cast, Amaterasu, or even Arthur. But the one I would love to see is Dante from the Devil May Cry games. Dante would be crazy to see, and would be so much fun to play. While he is a sword wielder, he does use a variety of weapons like the Balrog, Cerberus, Cavalier, and so forth. And with his ability to change weapons on the fly, he could turn out to be a crazy combo machine that would make Smash Wii U Bayonetta plus. If I could see a stage scene representing the series, it would either be Red Grave City or the tower from Devil May Cry 3. Plus, the music in the Devil May Cry series is fantastic. Devils Never Cry, Ultraviolet, The Time Has Come, Yacht and Yode, Devil Trigger. all amazing music. Plus, we should finally have Dante and Bayonetta duke it out.
The power is yet unknown.
Now, I don't think this character will have a high chance, as the character from the specific franchise isn't really well known besides its fan base, and it isn't a Nintendo developed IP. But this character is from one of my favourite games of all time. Neku Sakuraba is the main protagonist of The World Ends With You. He uses pins in combat that grants him many abilities such as pyrokinesis, cryokinesis, psychokinesis, and firing energy beams, making him more of a projectile-focused character that can rely on setting traps and controlling the area around him, featuring alongside the mother characters and Snake. He does also use physical-related moves such as a double uppercut and a flurry of punches too, so he wouldn't be totally defenseless. The music for The World Ends With You is one of my all-time favourite soundtracks that would be perfect for Smash. Just dump the entire soundtrack and we'll be golden. I could possibly see maybe a remix or two in the game, most likely Torian or Twister. The World Ends With You needs more love, and if Neku appears in Smash, I could see more people get into this beloved game.
The power is yet unknown.
Out of all the characters that are in the base roster, I'm surprised Rex and Pyro was not one of them. Now, I do understand why, as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was being made around the same time as the base roster was already finalized. But since the DLC after the Fighters Pass is happening, I could see them make it in. While Rex already has a Mii costume, so do some of the playable characters like Chrom, Enkin, and Fox, so it doesn't rule them out. In Xenoblade 2, the player controls two characters, the driver, who is the one that deals the damage, and is the one who takes the damage, and the blade, who is a support for the driver, granting him powers. In Smash, I did see the player control Rex, while Pyra and Mithra to be in the background, and determine on who is in the background, I could see them give Rex different moves and attributes. Another idea I had is Rex could swap between different blades, which would grant him different weapons and attacks, kind of like a weapon master. Out of any series that I would like to see more fighters of, it would be Xenoblade Chronicles.
The power is yet unknown.
Now, the number 2 on this list is probably the most unlikely, as for one, the face of the franchise, Isaac, is already an assist trophy, and the Golden Sun series hasn't seen the light of day since 2010 with Dark Dawn. And even then, Dark Dawn didn't sell too well. However, there is a lot of fan requests, including myself, that would love to see a Golden Sun character in Smash. Since Isaac is already an assist trophy, I would love to see his son and the protagonist of Dark Dawn, Matthew, as a DLC fighter. Matthew has the ability to cast spells, but unlike other fighters like Hero or Robin, he specializes in earth magic, or in terms of Golden Sun, synergy, allowing him to create and control tremors, vines, plants, rocks, and plenty more. I say if he was to get into Smash, my guess he would be a very defensive character who would have a great area control and attack power, but would have a slow movement speed and attack speed. I have wanted a Golden Sun character ever since the days of War's development, and when I discovered the Golden Sun series back in the mid-2000s, and so far we have 2 tracks, which includes a remix of the battle and final boss theme from Lost Age, and Isaac appearing as an assist trophy in Brawl, then for him to be removed in 3DS and Wii U, and then coming back as an assist in Ultimate. If Matthew does appear as a fighter, I would only hope this would be a good step to bring back this beloved RPG series.
The power is yet unknown.
So far in Smash Brothers, we have gotten so many third-party characters. We have 3 characters from Konami, 3 from Capcom, 3 from Sega, and 2 from Square Enix. But surprisingly, we have only got one Bandai Namco character, which is interesting since they are the ones that have developed the games since Smash 3DS and Wii U. Namco has a lot of series under its belt, such as Tekken, Soul Calibur, Legend of the Valkyrie, Kinera, and God Eater. But the one series I would love to see would be the Tales franchise. Now, with over 20 odd years, there are many characters to choose from, such as Cress, Velvet, Jude, and Yuke. My guess, if a Tales character got in, it would most likely be Lloyd from Symphonia, since he is one of the more recognizable, especially to Nintendo fans, but my preferred choice would be Yuri Yo from Tales of Vesperia, since he is my favourite. Yuri is another sword wielder, but unlike characters like Marth or Salt, the sword is more of a tool rather than the focus of his fighting style, as he relies more on his acrobatic tricks and uses his hands and feet for a lot of his attacks. His standard special could be the standard fireball attack as it ends, but a lot of his attacks could be multi-hit attacks. Like for his down special, it could be Silent Fang, his side special to be Ghost Wolf, and his final smash has to be Savage Wolf Fury. Similar to the Persona and Dragon Quest music in Smash, I can imagine having multiple tracks from all over the course of the Tales series, from the first game Fantasia to the latest with Berseria, or even a taste of a new track from Arise, similar to when Snake was announced in Brawl, where we got a Metal Gear Solid 4 track. While the Tales series isn't as big as Final Fantasy or Sonic the Hedgehog in the West, this series has recently sold 20 million units worldwide, and it is very popular in Japan, with even an official cafe in its name. I hope we see a Tales character in the future. While I would love to see these characters making it in, these are just a cherry on top to an already official amazing roster that Sakurai and his team have put a lot of effort to making his fans happy. Let me know what characters you would like in the comments below. Until then, take care and have a wonderful day.